Right, so just making up a little bracket at the moment from some old metal I had lying around, so just to mount this up properly. So I've done a rough first cut, so it's going to sit something like that. Then we're going to bang some holes in it and then get it mounted up and it's sitting something like that hopefully. So let's go. Right, so we've marked that up. So this is for the bolt to go through the bracket into the triple clamp. Yeah, this was one of the best things I've bought, was this step drill. So yeah, you can see all the little, I don't know if it's coming out clearly on the camera, let's see if it can focus. But you can see all the different sizes, so it goes from 5 up to 20mm, this particular one, but you know, there's a great job and a lot quicker than swapping out drill bits and stuff. So got this from Tool Station, so a really handy little thing to have in the workshop. Right, that's got the bracket put back onto the triple clamps and tightened up for now, so just popped a couple of holes in the bottom of the reservoir. It's a bit broken as you can see, but obviously this is a nice cheap fix till I get a new one. So we'll get that in position, mark the holes, take the bracket off again and then get it re-drilled and bolted up. That's all the holes drilled up. Now it's time to get it all bolted up. One little tip for you is if you've got sort of filed edges, or like this hole here for example, let's see if we get in focus, you know, you can get a black Sharpie marker and just go round the holes if you want to obviously you know, cover that up, and obviously go around the edges of the piece, and then it all looks quite smart if you wanted to go down that route. Right, so the little bracket's all bolted up with some stainless steel M3 bolts and nylon nuts and washers, so we just need to chuck the bolt back in the triple clamps like this. There we go, in she goes. Wind it up. Right, done. Okay, so then we'll nip it up with a 10mm and then we'll torque it up later on. So I haven't got a torque wrench yet, but I do need to get one. So Dad, if you're watching, be a useful Christmas present, one of those I think, rather than using my arm as the torque wrench. But I haven't snapped many bolts throughout my bike tinkering days, so hopefully I reckon that's about 14 Newton meters by my arm. There we go, job done. That's that little bit fixed. So off camera I've just tidied up this crash bung, basically, as you can probably see by my hands with all the plastic on it. So yeah, I've just basically spaced it out a bit to give it a bit more life, so I don't have to buy another one for now. Yeah, basically sort of just ground it flat with the grinder, spaced it forward about 10mm and put the bolt back in, so that will obviously protect the bike, and you can see it's sort of clear from the engine cases and will protect it for another crash. Well, hopefully I don't have any, but there you go, always good to be protected, as they say. Right, so the next job on the list on this side of the bike is to tidy this up. I might grind these down and sand it a bit and put some holes in it, make it look a bit smarter. I don't really like the checker plate look really, and you can probably see there that it's a bit bent, and then we've got a couple of little broken off pieces from the rear sets there as well. So we'll take this all apart, give these a clean up on the grinder, hopefully straighten this up, get that linkage running clear, and I'll probably put it into a race pattern shift as well. It's in road shift at the minute, so let's take it to bits. Right, so I've got the rear set off now, so you can see it's a bit bent, so we'll try and straighten it, but I know with some of these cast parts they don't really bend very well unless you heat them up. Sometimes they crack as well, so we'll have a go at it anyhow, see if we can get it a bit straighter. You can see there it's not quite aligned really, so we'll have a go at that, and then we'll do something with this, either make a new one or just give this a general tidy up and make it look a bit prettier. Right, I've got the top bolt here undone, which come undone okay, but this bottom one here is not wanting to budge, and I don't want to round it out. So what we'll do is the little tip for you here is to apply some heat to the bolt. It may have been thread lock, so that will release the thread lock, and then hopefully it will come undone. And the fact that this is alloy and the bolt's steel, the alloy should expand quicker than the steel, hopefully releasing the bolt. So we'll give that a go. Right, so just been heating this up for a couple of minutes, so it should be nice and warm now, so we'll give it a go and I'm doing it. There we go. Job done. So just wind that out of there. Watch out, the bolt will be hot. There we go, that's that one out. This one, top one, came undone pretty easily, so we'll just wind that out. Right, there we have it. Right, so these two little broken off pieces here, we're just going to give these a clean up on the grinder and then give the part a clean and hopefully a straighten as well, because I don't know if you can see that on camera particularly well, but that's the bit that's causing us the problem, that was making the foot pegs not aligned anyway. So you can see it's got a bit of a curve on it, so we'll try and get some heat into that and get it straightened up. Right, so we've given that a clean up, as you can see there, so that looks a lot tidier now. So just took it away with a grinder and hand filed it towards the end and a bit of sandpaper, and it looks a lot nicer now. The time to straighten out. Right, so I've taken all the checker plate markings off of there, given it a sand around the edges with my grinder and flat wheel there, so that's its sort of first rough cut. Smoothed out some of the edges, so we'll hit this with a file, some sandpaper, and then we'll put some speed holes in it. Right, so I've given it a sand with the paddle sander on the grinder, so it's still a bit lumpy and bumpy. So yeah, just going to mark up some holes, so we'll stick some holes in it to make it look a bit smarter, and then we'll sort of give it a final sand and finish in a minute. Right, so we'll show you this stepped cutter in action. And deburr the back of it. And as you can see, it creates nice holes that are, I've got a slight chamfer on them, which is nice, so we'll just whack another one in there. Right, and there you go, that'll do for some speed holes, so we'll give this a further clean up and sand and get it looking a bit smarter. Also, I've given it a light sanding, so I've gone for that brushed sort of look. I don't want it mirror polished or anything like that, because to be honest, the metal's not that high quality, and you know, it's got quite a few ups and downs on it, but it'll do for now. You know, it looks a bit better than it did with the checker plate that we started off with. So used a 120 grit sandpaper to give it that kind of brushed look, and we'll get it bolted up to the bike shortly. Well, that worked a treat, I think. So you can see that one's straight. I won't touch it because it's red hot, and then this one needs straightening, so we'll put some heat on that one and hopefully get it all back in line. Right, just taking out the vise with some pliers, obviously, as it's still red hot, and I've made that mistake before. But yeah, it's sitting on a nice flat surface now, and it's all looking pretty good. So we'll just let this cool down naturally rather than sort of chuck it in a bucket of water, so it you know, we don't want it to become brittle and anneal, I think the word is. But anyhow, that's sorted, so we're going to give it all a clean up and then bolt it all back up in a minute. Right, so that's all the components laid out. I've cleaned and re-greased the gear change lever there, so it's just a case of putting it all back together. And with anything like as crucial as foot pegs and gear change levers, always use some thread lock. This is blue Loctite thread locker, so you can get it back undone. And one other useful tip is to get some brake cleaner and just clean up the bolts first ahead of you putting the Loctite on and then installing them. Right, so before I put the rear sets back on, I've given the swing arm a bit of a clean and the Olin shock there, and this was all looking pretty grim. So I've got some my toothbrush, which is an old one obviously, just giving everything a clean up with some brake cleaner and just generally giving it a good scrub because it's got a lot of chain lube etc on there. And I just spotted this side stand bracket here, so again some more weight we can remove from the bike, so I'll just take that off. Right, well, these bolts aren't really playing fair, so we're bringing out the big guns and heating them up again. I think we've probably got a ton of thread lock on them. It's probably about 20 years old, so we've got a bit of the bolt out, as you can see, but yeah, it's still got a bit of a way to go, but the heat's certainly helping the situation. Victory is mine, hurrah! There it comes, 20 years worth of blue thread lock from the Suzuki factory, and that was a proper fight, but nearly rounded off that one, so very happy I've got that out. So that was about a 10-minute fight with a bit of blowtorch, bit of heat, and it got it done. Right, so that's the rear set all done. So what have we done? Gone to race pattern gear shift, so one up all down, so just swap that from top to bottom. Had to adjust the rod here. I've given the rod a clean up with a Scotch-Brite pad again. Added a longer hex head bolt and a nylock nut there, just for sort of added security really, so it didn't come off. There's the heel plate all finished with a new bolt and a nylock nut behind it. Re-greased the linkages, and it's all ready to rock and roll and all straight again, which is nice. So you can sort of see down there, everything all clears. Job's a good one. And I think it was Richard Cooper I heard on a podcast, and he said the easy way to remember it is a head down, toe down, so you don't make any mistakes with obviously going from road pattern shift to race shift. So little tip for you there. Right, job done. One thing I forgot to mention was when I was taking the side stand bracket off, I've given all the linkages a clean up. At some point I'll probably strip the linkages down, check the needle roller bearings in here and here and here, but it had tons of grime on it, you know, chain lube, tyre debris etc, so I've given them all a clean up, and obviously they adjust the nuts, and that's all clean on my nice Olin's shock.